everybody! Happy New Year! I'm Jimmy. I'm the host. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Please settle in. We have so much to cover. I want to, thanks for joining us. We did it. We made it. We survived 25. And for a minute there, it was touch and go. It didn't seem like it was going to happen. And now we look forward to all the horrors the new year will bring. Imagine if it's worse. Did you have a good break, Mo? It was great. Fantastic. You went to Cancun, right? Yeah. Beautiful weather. Cancun, as you told me you went. Yes, Cancun, yes, and they let you back in. No problem. Yeah, no problem. Remember what I told you? If they mention my name, what do you say? No, speak English. That's right. Donald Trump did so much crazy stuff over the last 2 weeks. It would take a 9-part Ken Burns documentary series to cover it all, but I'm going to do my best to boil it down. You know, he hosted an award show over the break after boasting about what a great host he is and how much better he is than I am and how huge his ratings would be. Trump hosted the lowest rated Kennedy Center Honors telecast of all time. I'll tell you something. I'd hate to be the White House intern that had to tear that headline out of all the papers and eat them. You know, as I recall, he said he would step down if this happened, right? He said, if I can't beat out Jimmy Kimmel, then I don't think I should be president. And well, hey, a deal is a deal. Back to Mar-a-Lago, you don't. He also missed out on this gem from December 19th when at a rally in North Carolina, he finally broke his silence on the First Lady's underpants. Her undergarments sometimes referred to as panties. That's right. Sometimes I can't think of a more fitting or vomitous way to end a terrible year than hearing Donald Trump use the word panties on television. That should be a war crime. It is amazing that he even has time to say the word panties. Over the last 2 weeks since we left for break, Trump posted on Truth Social 556 times, "Behold the ramblings of a madman." That is real. He was in an especially festive mood on Christmas Eve. Now, just after our show ended around 12:30 a.m., he threatened to terminate us. He said if network newscasts and their late night shows are almost 100% negative to President Donald J. Trump, MAGA, and the Republican Party, shouldn't their very valuable broadcast licenses be terminated? I say yes, and to all a good night. This is the vision of sugar plums that are dancing in his head as he goes to sleep. And then St. Nicholas offered this cheery salutation. He wrote, "Merry Christmas to all, including the many sleeves bags who love Jeffrey Esty. Leave it to Trump to wish a Merry Christmas to himself in Russia." And then he closed with this ominous message. "Enjoy what may be your last Merry Christmas." What is that? What is he trying to tell us? He's going down. He's taking us with him. I don't know. Fortunately, he did not share that sentiment with a group of children. They lined up to speak to him on the night before Christmas. The president and first lady took part in an annual tradition of chatting on the phone with kids who were calling it the Santa Tracker Hotline. They route them to the White House. And this is the kind of situation where he really shines. Well, we track Santa all over the world. We want to make sure that Santa is being good. Santa's a very good person. We want to make sure that he's not infiltrating, that we're not infiltrating into our country a bad Santa. So we found out that Santa is good. Santa loves you. Santa loves Oklahoma like I do. You know, Oklahoma was very good to me in the election, so I love Oklahoma. Don't ever leave Oklahoma. Okay, I'll try. Good, that's good. Is it at all possible that Donald Trump is unfamiliar with the concept of Santa Claus or unfamiliar with the concept of children? He's telling a 10-year-old he won Oklahoma. Hey, let's go to line 3, shall we? This is Crew, Pennsylvania, right? I know. Oh, Pennsylvania is great. We won Pennsylvania. Actually, 3 times. But we won Pennsylvania. There you go. We won it in a landslide. So, I live Pennsylvania. Can you imagine not just bragging to children, which is very strange, but also being the President of the United States and bragging to children. How much affirmation does this man need? And then for the third time in 5 years, he enlisted Vanilla Ice to perform at his Mar-a-Lago New Year's Eve party, which is a lot of times for a guy with one song. Ice baby in the house, baby. What year were they ringing in? 1991. I mean, President Trump said his New Year's resolution this year is peace on earth, and that lasted for just under 2 days. If you were wondering how bad these Epstein files are for Trump, turns out they're invade Venezuela bad. This is literally the plot of the movie Wag the Dog. The president gets caught in a sex scandal, so he attacks a smaller country to distract us. And here we are distracted. On Saturday, Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife were captured by Delta Force at their home in Caracas and brought to New York. Trump watched the operation unfold in real time from the bunker. In his basement at Mar-a-Lago, you can see there he is with Haggith and Marco Rubio. This mission was called Operation Absolute Resolve, which is a title that was definitely generated by ChatGPT. Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world, especially now that Diddy is locked up. And so after months of escalation, Trump decided Maduro had to go. And yes, he's a criminal and a dictator who's driven his country into financial ruin, while he and his family have lined their own pockets. But Maduro is no saint either, and thank you! So, with Maduro out, the question is who is going to run Venezuela? And the answer is this guy! We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about. That word I can barely say, judicious. You cook, I'll do dishes. That's what we're going to be. He might be, I think he might be gargling NyQuil or something. He's going to run Venezuela. He can't even run the country he runs. This is like if J.A. Penny decided to buy Sears for 10 years. He's been promising this plan for healthcare. Now he's running another country that I guarantee you he could not find on a map. I would bet anything on that. What is he thinking? Is running the United States not enough? I mean, if you're looking for a challenge, try a sit-up. Do something other than... So here's Maduro arriving in New York in handcuffs. 40% chance Trump thinks he captured Saddam Hussein. But with the specter of Epstein and his approval ratings and the golden toilet, Trump needed to win. Something his MAGA minions could crow about. And none more so than that little teeth sucker, Lindsey Graham. To my Democratic friends, you should be celebrating this. When bin Laden went down, I was the first to applaud President Obama. By the way, you mentioned something that's interesting. Lindsey mentioned bin Laden. Do you know I wrote about bin Laden 1 year before the attack on the World Trade Center, and I said, you got to go after bin Laden. It was in my book. Okay, so here's how you know when Trump is lying. This is his tell. I finally figured it out. He doesn't just lie once, he does it a second time. If they would have listened to me, they would have taken out bin Laden, and you wouldn't have had the World Trade Center tragedy. Yeah, this is certainly going. Did you know that? I predicted, but I learned something every day. No, but did you hear that? Well, now I just heard it right now. No, I wrote a book. It was 1 year before the attack that the book came out, and it talked about there's a whole page, a whole section dedicated to a guy named bin Laden, who's a bad guy who you have to take out. So, I'll get the book. You don't have to get the book, Lindsey. We checked. He says nothing of the kind. There's a brief mention of bin Laden written 2 years after Clinton indicted him on charges of terrorism and sent cruise missiles in to destroy his camp. There's no warning. There's no prediction. There's none of that, any of that stuff. But I do look forward to when Lindsey Graham gets the book and sets the record straight. But so now with Venezuela under his belt, Trump's been ramping up threats on Mexico, Colombia, even Greenland. He He says we need Greenland for national security and that the EU should make that happen for Trump has always had a thing for Greenland. It's Greenland, it's cold, it's icy and white, just like the woman he married. And so he feels. And of course, China is very excited about all this. They've been looking at Taiwan like it's a tasty little piece of dim sum, and now anything goes. You could just take what you want. It all seems it's almost comic book crazy, but Trump says there's nothing wrong with him. He said the White House doctors have reported he's in perfect health and that I aced, meaning was correct on 100% of the questions asked. He defines the word as said for like we're the ones with dementia. I aced for the third straight time my cognitive exam, something which no other president or previous vice president was willing to take or asked to take. By the way, these cognitive exams, they're about as difficult as the maze on the back of a box of Captain Crunch. But he's still very proud of his performance. But I've taken now 3 cognitive tests. I've aced every single one of them. And applause and cheering, they're clapping for that. Listen, I'm not sure being asked to take 3 cognitive exams is quite the flex he thinks it is. I did something no other president's ever done. I took cognitive tests because I know that. And by the way, not easy, not easy. Oh, well, tell us about the questions you answered. You know, the first question is like, what is this? And they show a lion, a giraffe, a fish, and a hippopotamus, right? And they say, which is the giraffe? So, that's the only question. But what happens is, it then gets harder than that. I find that hard to believe. You know, we've been hearing so much about these cognitive tests. He keeps acing. You guys know what ace means? Okay, all right. And I've offered him the opportunity to take the test live on television. He still hasn't gotten back to me on it. So, in the interest of fairness and also to get a sense of what he keeps babbling about, we got in touch with a doctor who gives this test regularly, these cognitive exams, and I asked her to administer one to me. This is the official exam administered by a medical professional. I did not see the questions ahead of time, and I'm willing to release the full unedited version if necessary. But with that said, let's find out just how difficult this big, beautiful test is and how my brain stacks up against our stable genius presidents. So, this is Dr. Swanson. What kind of doctor are you, Dr. Swanson? I'm an internal medicine doctor, and that means inside, right? Yes, do I pass? It's a good start though, right? Real solid start, good start. What kind of people typically get this cognitive exam? It's usually for our patients that are 65 and over as part of their annual physical. If I do poorly, will it affect my credit score? Okay, should I take my shirt off? Yeah, all right. Should we get started? Sure, let me get the test out. Is this the one that President Trump takes? I believe so. Oh, great. So, we'll really be able to compare apples to apples here. Or in his case, orange. Right, okay. So, I'm going to give you a pen. Okay, thank you. And then I want you to start. How do you work this? Okay, all right. I want you to draw a line between a number and a letter in ascending order. So, they already started this for you. So, there's a line between the 1 and the A, and then the A to the 2. And then you keep going until you get to the E. Okay. And then in the next box, I'm going to have you draw this design in the space below. Okay, and then in this side, I'm going to have you draw a clock face. So, a circle, and then all the numbers. And then, once you have all those on there, I'll tell you what time to draw the hands pointing to. Okay, all right. And then I want you to draw the time as 11:10. 11:10, a little one and a big one. Tell me the name of this animal. That's a lion. And then tell me the name of that animal. That's a rhino. And then tell me the name of that animal. That's a camel. I just saw Zootopia, so I know all the answers. Very good. The next is the real meat of the memory task. I'm gonna read you some words. We're going to go through it twice, just so it really goes to an important part of your brain, so you don't forget it later. Okay, so the words are face, velvet, church, daisy, and red. Face, velvet, church, daisy, red. Okay, and then for the next part of the test, I'm gonna gonna have you, repeat numbers after me. So the numbers are 21854, 21854, next one. I'm gonna read a string of number or a string of letters. You know, you messed up there. Right, I did. I lost a point. Yeah, every time I say the letter A, I want you to tap your hand on the table. Every time I say a letter that's not A, don't tap your hand. Okay, A-A-J-K-L-B. It's really good, right? You're great. Almost musical. Yeah, the next one I'm going to have you do some math. And so, we're going to start at 100 and subtract 7. What do you get? 93, 779. I am going to read a sentence and you're just going to repeat the sentence after me. I only know that John is the one to help today. I only know that John is the one to help today. Tell me as many words that you can think of with the letter F. Ready, set, go. Fart, fish, flop, fans, funk, frantic, friend, flop, flip, flow, feel, freezing. Okay, you already got a goal of 11 words and you still have 42 seconds to spare. So, what words do you think Trump came up with for the letter F? No comment. Finances, French fries, fat, okay? And then for the next part, I'm going to tell you 2 words, and I want you to tell me how they're similar. Train and bicycle, modes of transportation, and then back to those 5 words I told you earlier. Can you recall any of those words? Oh, church, velvet face. Was it red and daisy? Perfect. So let me just add everything up here. You got a perfect score, so I can be president. And by the way, Manny's, I want to go up here.